Did you know that there's a painful reality of learning? Sometimes we learn the wrong things. Or worse, sometimes we're taught the wrong things. If you ever heard of cognitive dissonance, you know that this can be a major problem because people can feel mental discomfort when their beliefs, feelings, or ideas are contradicted or inconsistent, causing new information to clash with the old. This can make learning new information difficult, even when the old information is wrong. Hello, I'm Darryl Brooks, the proud owner of DNA Apparel, and we believe in the power of fashion to inspire confidence and self-expression. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the painful reality of learning. When brainstorming ideas for this channel, I wasn't keen on talking about religion or politics. Those two topics can stir up a lot of emotions, right? But now, because of a recent conversation I had with a close friend, I want to talk about them. But I want to take a different approach. Instead of diving into the deep end debating, I like to do it a little bit different. I want to talk about something that I found. So first, let me confess. I've been away from organized religion and the voting booth for a while. I've been doing some soul searching, avoiding distractions. But of course, I couldn't avoid the occasional topics with my most inner circle of family and friends, which actually brought me to this moment. I have a diverse group of people in my circle, each with their own beliefs. When we don't see eye to eye, I'm there to support them because we're not in competition. One thing we all agree on is that some of the information we grew up believing aren't as accurate as we thought. Sometimes people we trusted the most gave us information that wasn't true. Santa Claus, Cupid, the Easter Bunny. We eventually grew up and learned the truth. They don't exist. However, there are misconceptions that aren't revealed to us. Let's take the story of the three wise men. It turns out the Bible doesn't specify the exact number of magi who came to visit Jesus. All it says is that wise men from the east brought three gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Before I move on and leave that thought, I want to make a point about these gifts. First of all, the wise men stopped to ask King Herod about Jesus' whereabouts. Most likely they traveled in a large caravan. If they were able to speak to a king, they must have had royalty status, like an ambassador. Therefore, their gifts were of great value, which would have made Jesus, the King of Kings, very rich. Later, we learned that Jesus became a carpenter, but we probably didn't take much thought about what that meant. Because when we think of a carpenter today, we see a hardworking man that makes a decent salary doing what he loves. However, carpentry was a very prestigious job back in those days because there were a lot of wood products. A lot. I bring all this up because some of us was led to believe that Jesus was a poor man, which obviously was not true. He was a very rich man like Abraham, Job, and King Solomon, and others in the Bible. Here's another false statement. Do you remember this? The race is not given to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, but to those who endure till the end. Well, that's not exactly what the Bible says. The Bible says, the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither bread to the wise, nor riches to men of understanding, nor favor to men of skill, but time and chance happens to them all. Now, that doesn't even have the same meaning, does it? The myths that many of us heard were like bedtime stories. They may have helped us sleep better as kids, but they didn't help us become responsible adults. Eventually, we've got to develop our own personal relationship with God and His Word to uncover the truth in the Christian light. And here's the kicker. Believing these biblical fibs could actually make faithful Christians worse than non-believers without them even knowing it or realizing it. Let's take a look at a couple of Bible verses to drive this point home. Proverbs 13:22 says, "A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of sinners are laid up for the just." Unfortunately, I know too many people that haven't been able to create that kind of wealth, whether it be their limited access to the kind of wealth or their limited access to the kind of information to achieve that type of wealth. I've even met some people who had the wealth, but not the wealth, but the riches, but couldn't protect it because they were financially illiterate. So now let's look at 1 Timothy 5:8. It says, "But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he has denied the faith and is worse than an infidel." Now think about that. Those two Bible verses are kind of essential for anyone aiming to be a faithful Christian and a good parent. But religious communities weren't the only systems that was not preparing people for adulthood. Let's look at some of the courses we take in school. Courses like statistics, chemistry, foreign language, geology. I love these courses. I took plenty of them, and I love them. And the list goes on and on. Like the rent, right? Because that keeps going on and on. Sure, these subjects are great if we're pursuing a specific career like infectious disease doctor or an interpreter. But for the average Joe, the information taught are often forgotten as soon as we learn. Tax preparation, financial planning, and wealth building and wealth protection are way more practical for adulting, for most people anyway. These subjects benefit the students as well as the system. But let's face it, there'll always be people gaining and losing, but we all can reach our maximum potential, at least the potential that we want to reach, if we're exposed to information that addresses our specific needs. And now here comes another technological breakthrough. And some people anticipate that the future of AI systems will analyze each student's abilities and interests to create personalized learning plans. Sounds great, doesn't it? But is it truly feasible? While many hope for universal access to tailored education, will everyone generally have that opportunity? Ignorance can be profitable for a lot of people. If we don't know what's on the horizon, people can shape the world we live in for their own benefits. Let's look around 2007 and 2008. Technological advancements led to the increased productivity with fewer workers, but without corresponding pay raises. This resulted in significant decline in the middle class while the wealthy prospered. Then around 2015, CEOs received bonuses for further reducing the workforce during periods of high unemployment. And now we have another technological advancement that looms, possibly worsening this situation. Okay, so it's not my plan to make this an all doom and gloom report. Instead, I want you to consider taking advantage of the opportunities that persist while they're available. Because the one thing I didn't learn is that these opportunities don't last forever. So while AI is in its infancy, We need to capitalize on the technology and use it for our benefits. We must learn as much as we can and the most correct version of reality and build wealth for our families, for our children's children. Because certain features of this new technology may become restricted or commercialized over time, leaving us vulnerable to those who hold the bag. Now, we've explored the challenges of learning, inaccurate information, and emphasized the importance of critical thinking and education. We've discussed misconceptions about biblical stories and their implications, well, I almost couldn't say that word, as well as the need for practical subjects like financial literacy in traditional education systems. Then we transitioned to the potential of AI in personalized education and raised concerns about its equity access. Finally, we closed with a warning about the profit-driven nature of technological advancements and advocates for seizing opportunities while vigilant about potential pitfalls. As we draw this journey to a close, I urge you to join us in embracing the ethos of just us. Connect with us on social media, explore our collection at buydnaapparel.com, and become part of the community dedicated to wearing our stories, embracing diversity, and making a difference. Until next time, remember, the threads of our past may shape us, but it's our choices that define us. Wear your stories, embrace diversity, and let's make a difference.